Hi kittens, I'm Julie Savone, psychedelic facilitator, integration expert, and your guide for this wild ride, The Inner Trip, 365 days with plant medicine. I've helped hundreds of people use plant medicine, primarily psilocybin, to heal, expand, and step into their next level. But this year, I'm taking it even deeper. For the next 365 days, I'm bringing you with me. I'll be microdosing, journeying, integrating, and exploring what it really means to live a limitless life, with plant medicine as a tool, not a crutch. So if you're ready to feel more alive, more clear, more limitless, and you're down to do it with mushrooms and a little bit of sass, you're in the right place. Let's take the inner trip. Hello, kitten. You are in for such a treat today because I have my friend, the one, the only, Erin Hallahan of Alberta, originally Calgary. Wait, are you specifically from Calgary or did I make that up?
Yeah. Calgary.
Okay, Calgary. Now San Diego, California. Hello, Erin. Thank you for being here.
Hi. Thanks for having me. So excited.
You guys, well, Erin is my friend, most importantly. But Erin has also, she's come on like every single format of retreat possible that I've done. And also now we're microdosing together inside Limitless Woman. And so I wanted her to come on and share her perspective on some things, share what psychedelics have given her. I think everyone's experience is so different with psychedelics. You know, some people come to it like wanting anxiety and depression help. Some people come to it seeing like what it's like in a non-already state of consciousness and just wanting to explore. And Erin has really seen the evolution of all things. But she also has a really cool story. We have some similarities in story that it's just whenever I think about them, like, that's so weird. Like Erin used to have this career in oil and gas and decided to give that up and pursue her passion and go to school and become a chiropractor and now open her own, it is called the Carbon Collective, but her own, do you call it a collective space where like other practitioners can come in even if they're not chiropractors?
Yeah. I mean, it's multidisciplinary. So there are like multiple different types of practitioners in there. So that's why I called it collective, because it is still, a collective of different people kind of all under one roof.
Okay. Multidisciplinary obviously sounds better. Okay. Erin, well, first of all, did I miss anything in your intro? Anything where you're like, oh, Julie, you didn't say this, but this is important?
No, I think you did a great job.
Oh, you know, one thing I will say that I didn't say and I haven't really talked about yet, I think this is kind of cool. Well, Erin, obviously we've gone on trips together, and we're going to go to Egypt together in November. I had this letter I would read to myself once a week or so about how I wanted to go to Egypt with my soulmate. And it was this like letter that I had written 5 years in the future at the time. And then Erin was like, I'm going to Egypt. Like, you should come on this trip. And I've thought a lot this year about relationships and how you can have a soulmate who's like not, it doesn't have to be someone you're like sexually involved with. And it was just such a cool moment of like, I'm going to make this happen for myself, even if it didn't look this one specific way. And I'm going to go and probably honestly have a better time with Erin and a bunch of other women on the Girls Trip series in Egypt. So that is really exciting. I'm really looking forward to doing that with you in November.
I know. I can't believe I was so flattered that you were like, wait, you're my platonic soulmate. Let's go to Egypt. And I was like, yes, let's go to Egypt.
Well, we do have a lot of like weird little similarities. It even made me give me goosebumps like saying that, like in our stories. But I'm curious, like thinking about like way back when, which I guess was only like 2.5 years ago, but you do a lot of travel, right? Like if anyone saw your Instagram, you'd be like, this girl goes all over the place. Like you've had plenty of adventures. And normally you go on an adventure that's just, I'm going to go experience a new place and see what it's like, whether you're going to Africa or South Africa or God, you've been all over. But Asia, you just went to South Korea with a friend. But what was like driving you behind wanting to have, we went to Sedona, but like have a psychedelic experience in that way in a guided, like facilitated setting?
So I have always been really curious about ayahuasca, and I had experimented with like mushrooms and psilocybin in a very recreational setting. And so I kind of had an idea what they could feel like, but never did a macrodose. And in my head, I was kind of like, you are not ready to go experience ayahuasca until you've experienced a macrodose of mushrooms. And that was just like my own opinion and what I thought like for myself. And then when we got connected through a friend, I was like, I had already told this other friend that I was like, I really enjoy doing mushrooms like recreationally. And I like, the psychedelic experience. And she was like, you should meet my friend and go on one of these retreats that she did. And I was just like, this is so perfect for me to experience a larger dose with like facilitation and like the safety of being in like being with somebody who is so experienced with psychedelics.
Yeah, you know, like obviously, hopefully nothing ever happens to someone, but I think even for myself, like I like to have a facilitator because when I don't and I'm at home or whatever, I'm still kind of hanging on a little bit, like, well, just gotta make sure everything's okay. Whereas when you have someone there, you can fully like let go.
Yeah, totally. I feel like, I mean, not that I think that there can be a ton of variables. I mean, we've talked about how it's a suggestible drug and all of these types of things, but it gives you like this little like safety blanket essentially to know that like somebody's there, they've got your back, or like if you really need them and that. And two, like having done it before, but not in that dose, like it just, yeah, it felt like so comforting. And then to do it with other people too was really such a cool experience. And I have yet to go on a solo journey, and I have talked about doing that so many times and haven't quite pulled the trigger on it yet. But being in a room with other people who are also on their own journey and then kind of come into your journey was like really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you're ready for your own journey whenever you want to go on that. And yeah, I mean, you totally got it for sure, but it's different. And I like what you said about the being in community, because you've also had two very different experiences where sometimes you know someone there and they're like an actual good friend of yours. And one time you were like, obviously you knew me, but you didn't know the other women as like friends. So yeah, I actually never have asked you, but what has been different about those two types of experiences?
Yeah. And what's even different, so now I've been on 3, and I did an experience in Sedona with a friend of mine from San Diego who we were friends, but I wouldn't say we were like super close. And that experience actually brought us even closer together. And then my second experience in Lake of the Ozarks, I didn't know anybody. And then my third, I brought another really close friend of mine. So I'd say like the difference being that like it is cool to go through the experience with somebody that you know. I personally, like in the first one, just had no idea what to expect. So me and my friend were just like opposite sides of the room, doing our own thing, whatever. And then, but I know that like even in my journey, there were moments where I wanted my friend to be a part of it, or I wanted to talk to her, I wanted to be a part of hers. And we had that option to both journey on our own and then come together and journey together. And then being with strangers, like you go through such a magical experience together with strangers that you can't help but come out of it as friends. And even in one of the experiences, there was somebody there that I did not become friends with. And that just like, you know, you can just leave that experience there. And it didn't come into my experience at all, but it didn't carry out. But two of the other girls that were strangers, I mean, all of them, all of the people on every single one of my journeys who were strangers before have pretty much become friends. And it's really cool it's what's extra cool, I think, about these experiences is that everybody's experience is so different. And yet you're in the same room doing the thing. And then you get to discuss just how different that journey was, even though we were like 2 feet apart the whole time going through it. But yeah, I would say like the biggest thing too, the difference between going with a friend versus not is like, I guess I am kind of just a natural caregiver. Like my job is, you know, taking care of people and that kind of thing and you made you made a point of making sure that I didn't do this, but to make sure that I like didn't worry about them too much. Like you were there to take care of everybody. And you were like, go on your own journey. Do not worry about your friend. Like they're there when you're done kind of thing. So I guess the biggest thing when you're with total strangers is that you don't maybe feel that, but all 3 experiences were great, all different in their own way, but all really fun, really great.
I didn't realize that you and Sedona didn't really like weren't super close before. I mean, I knew you guys like worked out or whatever, but I didn't know you weren't already like really good friends when you got to Sedona. And I've never thought about it, but you made such a good point. Like everyone, doses are different, right? But everyone's taking like literally, it's from the same, we can call it a batch or whatever, right? It's not like I give people different types. Everyone's taking the same type.
Yeah.
And if like everyone sat down and took an Advil, we'd all have pretty much the same experience, right? But with this, you're right. It's so different for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wouldn't say that like that friend and I weren't friends. We were friends in such a specific capacity. And we had told you to like, or I maybe told you, like, I threw the invite out to something like this and never in a million years thought that she would say yes to the experience. And so it was so special when she did, because that really did bring us so much closer together. And we experienced something so magical together that we were like, whoa, like now we are super good friends. And it was just like really fun going back to like our life in San Diego and like back with our trainer and tell her about our experience together. And yeah, I mean, friends, but definitely like an experience like that brings you a hell of a lot closer together.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's an experience like no other for sure. And I know that every journey is different, as you just said, and like you can have a different journey even in the same room with the same people. Like you could take the exact same dose of the same batch and it would still be different. But when you think about these like larger journeys, what are the big things that stand out to you that like a larger journey has given you?
I would say like in terms of like large, the word large being like, I don't know if are you specifically talking about dosage?
Yeah, so I just mean because we've microdosed together too, right? But like at my retreats, whether you want to call it like a macro dose or like a ceremonial dose or whatever, like it's a full. You're not microdosing. You are not able to drive a car. You're fully like somewhere else. So thinking about those experiences, because I know each journey, the three have been different for you, but like, what are the biggest things that you've taken or the biggest benefits you've gotten from them?
Okay, yeah. Um, I mean, going into my first one, I did feel like there was a lot of experiences that I had been through in my life that while I was in talk therapy and doing all these things, that there was probably just some like really deep healing that could happen. And that's definitely what I got out of that first journey. Like, I truly felt like the mushrooms were like, we are going to dive deep into the deepest compartments of your brain and bring up all the stuff that you're just like so good at like packing down in your brain and not. And I think like getting to that point in talk therapy is possible, but I think it takes a lot longer. Whereas like being on a journey on mushrooms, it was just like, okay, here we are, and we're gonna deal with it. And you're gonna deal with it now, and you're gonna come out on the other side of it. And then I've had journeys where there wasn't all that much going on in my life. Things were pretty stable and calm and whatever. And I was like, let me see what can come of this journey. And some of them were just really fun. Like my second one was more just like, I'm just kind of having fun. Like there wasn't a lot of like what I felt at the time didn't feel like a lot of like healing and learning in that journey, but it was just nice for the time being. And then my third journey being that I'm in a very busy and chaotic kind of time of my life. And I just got to find so much peace in my third journey. And these are experiences that you're not going to experience on a microdose. Like the larger journey is getting you to a place like that. And but by peace on my third journey, I'm meaning like the mushrooms allowed me to not hear words for so long that it was just so peaceful. Like my thoughts got to quiet and I got to just kind of sit with like the music and the sounds and the mushrooms and the people around me, but I couldn't hear any words. And I was like, I want to hang on to this for as long as possible because this feels so good. I'm like, how can I simulate this in my everyday life? Just turn off the brain, turn off the thoughts, turn off every word that you can hear. And it's just like calmness, peace. It's like, wow, this is crazy. But like we said, like the mushrooms always bring you what you need in that moment. And sometimes you don't know what that is. And when I got that like calmness and peace, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I came here for. And sometimes you just don't know what that is until you're in it.
I'm so glad that you say that because I think some people hear me say like you're not always gonna get you get exactly what you need even if it's not exactly what you want and it like rubs people the wrong way, but like you said, maybe you don't know at the time, but you really are always getting what you need from the experience, and like trusting that is so huge.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, yeah, like going into my first journey, I was like, I know what I need out of this. And what I got out of it was like far beyond what I could have ever imagined. And I remember like I was so emotional after that retreat because I was just like, I'm just so happy. I'm so happy that that's what happened because that's exactly like, I didn't know which way it was going to go, but it was exactly what I needed. I didn't feel as much of that in my second journey. I was like a little confused almost leaving that journey because I was like, what did just happen? Like, what, we good there? But then the third one was like that again. Like I was like, that is what I wanted. So yeah,
Okay, I was really excited to ask you this question because I feel like you obviously, like I said, you've been to every type of retreat I've had thus far, but I think people think that I give them a bunch of mushrooms and they have a journey, but actually or the work that we do together or the purpose of a retreat is what?
Yeah, I definitely think that there could be some misconception that you're just going to be like babysat while you take a bunch of mushrooms. I mean, there's some pre-work, where there's like so much intention setting, and Mexico was so cool because we did what do they call that? The little sweat lodge thing first. We did so much like clearing kind of prior to, and then I can't remember the name of it. There's so much work that gets done after the journey. And I think that if people were to come into this being like, oh, let's just go have a facilitated journey and then just leave it there, it's just, there's so much integration and stuff that happens after. And even I didn't really realize going into it that there was that much support coming out of the journey. And even you just being like, no, you need to sit down here and like really think about this and really think about like, what are we going to do in the next coming weeks while the brain is a little bit more plastic and we're like resetting some habits and that kind of stuff. I didn't even know that going into the first journey that we were going to do that. And I was like, that is where the magic happens, really, I guess, is when you're using it for good. You're trying to, it's not just going on a retreat, doing mushrooms and leaving. There's just like so much more to it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had this conversation recently where someone clearly just wanted basically a trip sitter. And I was like, then that definitely isn't me. Because I also just think it's a disservice to what this could be or can be when done in a different way. And it's also like, I don't know, it's almost like if I was really good at baking lemon meringue pie, but you just wanted a chocolate chip cookie, like you shouldn't come to my bakery, because I'm not going to give you that chocolate chip cookie you're looking for. Because to me, it really is the after effects. Like kind of from what I'm hearing you saying, the things you got out was doing that like deeper level healing that you're not going to be able, or you could, like you said, you probably could do it in talk therapy, but it would take a little bit longer than you. And then for anyone just to get there in talk therapy, and then getting just like relief or whatever you need in the moment is really what it gives you.
Yeah, and I think that you really just encourage a lot of deep work even directly after, like night of, day after, depending on like which retreat you're on. Like you're not really going to escape it. If you want to just come and like do the thing and then leave, like you're still going to sit down and be like encouraged to do some deeper work, So yeah, I do think you got to be going for something specific. I don't know. I guess so too. You could go into it being like, I think that I could benefit from this, and I know that I want something, but you don't really know what it is, and then you can kind of figure out that work after. So I feel like I've been on kind of like the side of that too.
Yeah, I feel like that was how Sedona Friend's first journey was, where she was just like, I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah. And so much came of that for her. And like, we had no idea that that's the direction it was going to go. And then she did another one.
Yeah, but I think she did another one. She could do a third if she wants. I love her. But I think it's cool too that she maybe didn't realize the integration was part of it, but she and you obviously were really down to like, okay, well, we're here. So like, let's figure this out.
Yeah. Like forcing me to write in a journal, which I never do. I was like, okay, let me write some stuff down.
I think I've gotten better at this point at articulating that like it's not just come take mushrooms. It is like this deeper work. So hopefully now everyone who comes understands that that is part of the experience. And I know that, our mutual friend, introduced us, but also you are super like connected and like probably could have found someone else. Like there are other people who do what I do, right? I'm not the only one. So I'm curious, like, why did you feel like you would want to do it with me before we even really knew each other?
Yeah, that's a good question. Truthfully, I always had said I wanted to do it, and I never really knew even where to like start looking for something like that. So I do feel like your profile and that hookup really did like fall into my lap at the most perfect time. But I think what like really solidified it and maybe like click that button to like book the retreat was just how much like information I could see on your social media page that was like, don't just do this to come take mushrooms. Like, we're going to like figure some stuff out. And I had like been kind of through a pretty tough year before meeting you too. And I was like, if someone is going to help me get through some of these like gnarly bits of my life, like it's, you give like this level of comfort of like friend, even if you don't know you on your social media, you're like, oh, she's so friendly, she's so nice and so welcoming and warm. I mean, it obviously helps to have a referral into something like that. But I also, I don't know, Julie, you would know this better than I, because I haven't really looked anywhere beyond you for an experience like this. But like, as far as I know, I don't know too many other people doing like what you're doing exactly in terms of like the retreat. You get to travel, you can do all these things, and then all the integration and support afterwards, plus all your other courses, like not just the retreats, right? Like, because I'm in Limitless Woman too, and that's more on like the business side of things for me.
Yeah, I don't know like anyone doing the way that I do it. I mean, there are retreats. I'm thinking like more actually ayahuasca and like in Costa Rica where you can go and it's a longer stay. But even those retreats, like it's always one facility. Like they obviously own the facility as part of their company. So it's not really like the options. And then Erin was part of. Sometimes I'm like, thank God it was Erin, because someone else I'm like, oh my God, they would freaking hate me. But there was a situation with a woman that could never happen again on a retreat. I've talked about it before on this podcast, but the best way for me to describe it was I felt like she was burying the lead about a lot of things, and like she was an unreliable narrator as more and more came out. But she was telling me she went to Rhythmia, this big retreat in Costa Rica, right? And it is very much like you are one of like literally 60 to 70. You're in a room doing ayahuasca, and there are some other supportive things. Like you could go to a journaling session, or you could go to a breathwork session. But what this woman actually said to me, and kind of like what you said, but like because my retreats are so small, like you can't hide from me. Like no one's gonna not do the deeper work. Where she was like, at this huge retreat, I could just go be by myself because I was one of 70 people there and like no one knew me. So I don't actually know anyone who kind of like, I say this in a nice way, but like forces you to like do the shit. And I will force you, and like with a smile on my face, but like you're gonna do it.
Yeah, and there's almost like, I wouldn't say like social pressure from you, but when you're in a group of people and like other people have come to the journey for a certain reason, and if you're like, oh, I don't really want to do this, well, everyone around you is doing it. And then that's what also takes away some of like the fear, because you're like, so and so right next to me is you know, telling like all her shit, you know, we get to know everything about her, or you know, whatever she wants to share. But it like takes it, like people just, you can see it. Like I've seen it in 3 retreats now. I'm like, people just become so comfortable because they're like, we all just sat in a room together and did something pretty incredible. And you cannot help but have like quite a strong bond coming out of it, that you're just like, yeah, let's talk about everything we just went through. And you're like, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about all the crap in our lives. Yeah, I mean, even for me, I feel like I tell the most about my life to the women at the retreat because it is so, I don't know, there's something about in-person experience, right? Like you guys knew before the person that I was dating at the time that I was going to move to Kansas City.
That is true. We did know that.
Yeah, there's just a level of depth and a level of honesty, and yeah, I don't know, there's something really special about retreats. But there's something like, you know, I came into this world, like to psychedelic world, through microdosing, like for myself. And like I'm curious now that we've really officially gone through a microdosing protocol together, and we both did the exact same one, the exact same days. Like what did you feel like microdosing gave you?
Oh, microdosing gives me a lot of things. So I have, you know, some level of ADHD, and I have chosen not to medicate for it. I mean, I was diagnosed like late in my adult years, and I was like, you know, been through this long, I think I could, you know, keep going without a harsh medication that I just like wasn't, I'm really big on my sleep. And so I was genuinely just very scared about going on some sort of stimulant that was going to mess up my sleep. So microdosing, the biggest thing I've noticed with it is my ability to focus and like be productive, get a task done. A big thing for me is I'm very impatient, and that comes into like a lot of like, we're talking road rage on the road, like mad at people, like just such a short fuse for like so many things. And when I'm microdosing, I'm just like, yeah, go ahead, cut me off. Go on. You can go in front of me, like so much more patience. I find that I'm like better at my work. I'm better at my job. I'm more clear. My brain works fast. Like in my job, somebody sits in front of me, tells me all the things wrong with them. And then right there on the spot, I have to figure out what's wrong with them and figure out how I'm going to treat them. And obviously that can change as you go along with treatment. But for the most part, I'm just like so much more clear and with it. And like, I know some people would fear saying like, oh, like my doctor was microdosing that day. Obviously I'm not telling my patients that all the time, but like, you would never know, because I was just, if anything, you'd think I was having the best day ever because I'm just so much more clear and calm and, productive, creative too. I don't really consider myself to be very creative, but I have like a lot of really good business ideas and marketing ideas and all that stuff when I'm on a microdosing protocol.
I think that so often when we hear like psychedelics or mushrooms or whatever, it all just gets lumped in with this thing that we have in our head, this like paradigm of drugs. And so when we think about wine or like a glass of alcohol, regardless of what you're drinking, or like cannabis or whatever, there is this like fuzziness that we associate. And so we're thinking like, oh, if someone's taking mushrooms, then they're going to be fuzzy, not realizing that actually like a microdose, a true microdose, a sub-perceptual dose, right, is almost like Windexing your brain. And it's like, oh my God, look at how good it's working now because we got all this gunk off of it. And it's just like a major misconception people have around microdosing.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I've even had other business owners talk to me being like, do you take it on days that you work? And I'm like, hell yeah. In fact, those are the days that I would want to be on it, because you don't feel high, you're not hallucinating on a microdose. Like if anything, I'm just like, I'm like firing on all cylinders. It's like my brain and all my circuits have finally been turned on. But I do feel like that is probably the hardest thing to explain to people. Even with the retreats, they're like, oh, so you're like going to doing this? And I'm just like, yeah, but there's more to it. I don't know if you'd ever understand, but sometimes I explain it. Sometimes I just leave it.
I remember when you schooled that guy you were talking to. You're like, that's not what this
is. He probably still didn't understand.
Well, men are dumb, and I stand by that. Sorry, guys. I probably have no male listeners, so I'm just going to keep trashing men.
Not anymore.
Except for me. Not anymore. That's fine. You can go away. Wait, Erin, did you teach me this? I feel like you did.
I don't know if I did. I don't even know if I do it right anymore. Or is it a little hard?
Or I feel like maybe my little cousin did. It was you or my cousin. You're the only two cool people I know, I feel like.
I'm flattered. I feel like I'm not with it much these days. For the longest time, I didn't even know it was a heart.
You're with it. You're that right? Yeah, it's a heart. Yeah. They're little Japanese hearts. For people listening, you're gonna be like, what are they talking about? But if you put your thumb next to your pointer finger, it makes a little heart. And I guess this is a cute way to send people love now. This is what the kids are doing, you guys. In case you were wondering. Okay. So thinking about microdosing and thinking about Limitless Woman, which is that business program, for those of you guys who don't know, it's a microdosing focused business strategy and coaching program for people who are really determined to live life their way. I feel like there's a few different roads I want to go down because, like I said, Erin really has decided to live her life her way, and she really embodies that principle. But like how, and we talked about like serving patients, patient care, diagnosing next steps, taking care of them, and also like creativity and just energy and focus. But how has like the microdosing process and the process inside Limitless Woman supported you in that, in the creation of your business and as the furtherance of the Carbon Co?
It is so great. It's been so great because one of the first things we did was like a deep dive into my human design and figuring out that I am somebody who has the ideas, but I need somebody to help me execute it. I'm like, we should do this, but it's like the execution that is so difficult for me. And that was starting to just like kind of beat me down a little bit. Like I was almost seeing it as like a failure as a business owner, that like I could come up with these ideas, but I just couldn't like figure out how to get shit done. Or I had like a brain block and like even wanting to do these things. And I was like, I just started this business. This is my dream. And yet I don't want to work in it. a lot of the times. And so for in Limitless Woman and with the microdosing protocol, we were just kind of figuring out like, where am I best when I'm at my best, and what can I do to kind of execute that, and how can I like delegate tasks, hire certain people, like do certain things to make me still feel like there was just weeks where I didn't even want to go to work. And I'm like, you just built this thing that is exactly what you wanted to be, and you don't want to go there. And I think it was more just like figuring out what needed to be off my plate onto somebody else, and like where my energy should be. And I think that was the biggest thing, is that we use microdosing and other things to figure out who I am and where I like excel as a business owner. And then I use the patience and the creativity and the marketing stuff from microdosing to execute the things that I wanted to, and delegate the things that I didn't want to do.
I also will just say there's something that we do that no one likes, that's called the list of like everything that you're doing. And Erin was literally doing everything in her clinic, like things someone definitely could have been doing. Someone else.
Yeah, for sure. I think too, like as a business owner, sometimes you don't know when and who that can be delegated to. And so I've done so much coaching. I've done coaching programs from other chiropractors. I've done coaching and business coaching through, business coaches or consultants. So this was the first of its kind, where obviously I respect you as a businesswoman too. Like you run a very successful business. So I know you had that expertise, but then when we had the microdosing and the human design and all the other things that you're really good at come into play there, I was like, you are definitely the person to tell me, like, you don't need to be stocking the toilet paper kind of thing.
Aw, Erin, thank you so much. Working with you and working with other women, like, especially because you guys have, like, I like to call it, like, real businesses, like, businesses in the outside world. I guess I have a real business when I go to retreats, but so often I'm just, like, in my office on my computer, but, like, there's something so energizing about it, and it makes me like put back on my lawyer brain and be thinking about all of these things, and it just like is so, it really, like, you guys give me so much energy where I'm like, yes, this is so cool. And then seeing like, you had a really big month in your business that you had been wanting, and I remember you talking about like a different milestone when we were in the Ozarks in August, and just like seeing these things continue to grow, and then the serendipity even, right, as you got clear on like things you don't need to do and things you could be delegating to someone else, and then a really great employee showed up in your office like, hey, are you guys looking for work? And knowing that your teammates want to grow with you and like be a part of the larger vision, it's just been really like, I'm like ready to, I don't even live in San Diego, but I'm like, everyone needs to go to the Carbon Cove. Oh, and go get a massage there, by the way.
Yeah. If you're in San Diego, come see us. Yeah, I know. It was just very like, it is cool to see it kind of evolve when doing different types of coaching, for sure. And this was like way out of the realm of things I had done in the past.
Oh, I guess that's a good question, because I know you had done that like program with, it was acupuncturists, right? Like where they were setting how to set up a clinic or something with an acupuncturist?
The people running the program were chiropractors, but they were running a very different type of chiropractic clinic, but they did coach a lot of acupuncturists, and what they were coaching that they worked with their chiro business seemed to work really well with these acupuncturists. But yeah, that's where that came in. And I was just like, this is not the model. Unfortunately, not the model of chiropractic. And they were the type of coaches that were like, well, this is how we're doing it. And then you can do whatever you want. But when it doesn't work, come back to us and we're going to go back to this process. And I was like, yeah, that's just not going to work for me. Like, that's not the kind of coaching. I need somebody to work with me on like my vision. I'm like, not yours.
Oh, okay. So that's definitely why I was confused and thought it was like something that an acupuncturist would run. But which brings me really to my question of like, you said this was like a totally different experience. Like, what was it about this that was so different from the other things that you've done?
I think the biggest thing just being that you are deep diving with us in our business and how we want it to look and how we want our life to look. Whereas a lot of these other coaches are like, no, this is what you're going to do to be successful. This is how you're going to do your marketing. This is who we're going to target. This is how many patients you're going to treat a day. And like, there was just no room for making it your own. And I was like, I did not start this business to have some like cookie cutter framework that like Joe Schmo and everybody else on the street is doing. And like you said, I really like to live it up and I love living life full and I love to travel and stuff. And these people were like, you need to be, I had one coach say, you need to sell massive packages and treat at least 20, 25, 30 patients a day. And I was like, no chance, not doing either of those things. And then I had another coach being like, you need to choose how many weeks off you want this year. And that's it. Final. It's either 4, it's either 6. And I was like, I left corporate for that reason. Like nobody was going to tell me how many weeks off I could take in a year. And if a trip to Egypt just pops up, I'm going to go. And I'm not going to say no because I'm out of my vacation that I had set like a limit on myself. And so I was like, no, I don't think that's going to work for me either.
I also just kind of want to paint a picture. Like, do you feel this has always been you? Because, like, the version of you that I know it is, like, you gave up, she was like a really successful career in oil and gas in Canada and, like, now runs her own chiropractic clinic. Is that kind of just always been your vibe of, like, I want to do things my way. I don't want to be told, like, what to do?
Yes. Talk to any of my teachers or Irish dance teachers or anything from when I was a kid. Like, I was so defiant and just like, if you told me to do something, I would do the opposite. And like my dad figured that out about me at a young age. So he would literally reverse psychology me all the time because he knew exactly how I operated because I was just like him, you know? And so, yeah, as soon as I'm like being told, which is why I think Limitless Woman was so amazing, is because you would be like, what do you want? Like, what are we doing here? And what are we going to do to get to like from point A to point B? And so many coaching programs they would never ask you what you want out of your business. But yes, 100%. I'm very like, I wouldn't say I'm my way or the highway. I'm just like, don't really love being told what to do.
No, I mean, like, I think about you in friendship, and I'm never like, God, it's always the Erin show or whatever. Like, I never think that at all. But, you know, when we were originally talking about that, did I tell you made me want to go figure it out? And the word in psychology is called reactance.
Oh, I don't know. What does that mean?
Like reactance is this phenomenon where if someone like tells you what to do, even if you're telling yourself like a rule or regulation, you like you push back hard, like you refuse to do it. It's like it's almost like an inner, like you won't be oppressed or jailed.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny too is that's just like more so in like business and life. I feel like if I'm with a group of friends or whatever and they're like, let's go do this, I'd be like, great, yeah, let's do it. I would never be like, no, I don't want to be told like where to go and what to do. But if someone was like I had an ex-boyfriend one time, like come with me to get a tattoo. And he was like, okay, now you're done. No more. And I was like, bet. And now I'm covered. Literally since then, I've been covered in tattoos because I was like, nobody will stop me from getting a tattoo or telling me how many I can have.
Yeah, even that distinction though is great, right? Like friendship is more about like I'm inviting you to do, I want to do something with you, whereas like whether it's parenthood or even like business coaching or relationships, sometimes I can start to feel like no, like act right, do this or else.
Yeah. I don't think I'm that difficult in like relationships by any means. It's more on like the business front. My biggest thing in working corporate was, which is different, a little bit different here, I found in California versus Canada, but like most companies are like, this is how much vacation you get a year, like allocated the way that you see fit, but like you get 3 weeks and you have to work 10 years to get a 4th week. Whereas like, I know I've met a few people in California who have unlimited PTO. But some of them are like, yeah, it's unlimited, but then they kind of give you a hard time if you're taking like too much or whatever. And I was just like, I know for a fact that like being told how much vacation I can take, or just like even taking a day off, like, hey, I want to take Friday off, I'm going to block my schedule. Like that kind of, that is like pure freedom to me, is being able to have complete control over my schedule. And I don't control my workers' schedule either. I'm like, you want to take the day off, take the day off, you know?
Yeah, I feel like you are really like the textbook. If someone really wanted to know what true reactance was, like we could just look in Erin's mind and be like, there it is. No one's going to tell her about her PTO.
So true. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm still single. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Oh, that's not why.
No, I feel like in the right relationship, well, you know, you've had successful relationships. It's not about that. It's like a person who isn't the right fit for you.
Totally.
You guys can't see her face, but sure that she's fully subscribing to what I'm saying, but that's okay. We can work on that.
You're so right.
Okay, Erin, I have one more question for you. What?
I said, you're so right.
Oh, thank you. I love to hear that. It's one of my favorite things. I have one more question for you before I'm going to flip it onto you. But what do you think my superpower is if I had one?
I think your superpower is like the insane ability to just understand people. Like I've been on so many retreats now and in these like programs that like it feels like someone could literally say anything and you could almost regurgitate what they say, but in your way, and then ask them a follow up question. And they're like, oh my God, like you just feel so seen and heard by you because you can just like listen to what they're saying, process, feed it back to them, and have like this insane amount of like understanding when it comes to anything. And I even feel like I've even seen you in situations where you're like, this is something I don't understand. But what I'm hearing you say is this, this, and this. Is that what you mean? And the person's like, yes, it's exactly it. So I just feel like, especially in our world right now, there's a lot of like misunderstanding and people not like actually listening to each other. And since like the day I've met you, I've just like noticed that like you just have this like insane ability to like really understand people and come from like a really soft place of like holding them, understanding them, and making them feel so comforted.
Erin, I wonder if I can make that like a little recording to play for myself in the morning when I get up, like an affirmation.
Oh my God. Flip it.
Yeah. Erin wakes me up every morning with nice words about myself.
Good morning, Julie. I could even record you a morning affirmation from me.
No, that would really be the dream. Maybe when we're in Egypt, we can just practice in real time. We can just give each other affirmations back and forth.
Totally. We can do that.
I say that now, and like in real life, having that much conversation before coffee would actually make me homicidal.
It wouldn't happen. Especially there's like, I feel like on some of these trips, there's some early mornings and I'd be like, don't talk to me. Not yet.
Not right now. Not right now. But yeah, in case you guys haven't figured it out yet, Erin just like is determined to squeeze all the juice out of life, and she has had so many adventures and she will continue to have so many. But she's also, oh wait, I forgot there's one more thing I really want you to explain while we're here. She's also just a volume of knowledge about the body, and like I'm very scared of like letting people do body work on me. Erin knows because I laugh the whole time, and she's the only person I'll let adjust me, and the only person I've ever let do her specialty, like really her zone of genius, which is nasal release, which is what, Erin?
Okay, nasal release is a technique that I do where we insert a very small balloon into the nasal passages of the nose. We inflate the small balloon in like quickly. It causes a sense of pressure within the nose and it essentially clears out the sinus or the nasal cavity. It doesn't actually go as deep as the sinus. It adjusts the cranial bones of the face. So sometimes people do hear like almost popping and cracking in there. And that's just because there's so many cranial bones that are being touched by the balloon. Clears out that stagnant congestion and just honestly helps people breathe better. And it's weird and I get it. And a lot of people are scared of it. And but I do it because it worked so well for me. And it was really just like so pivotal in my life of getting me off like nose sprays and stopping like feeling chronically congested all the time, that it's become my specialty and kind of my baby around here is blowing up balloons in people's noses.
I will say like right after and like continuing the effects, like they last, but like you realize, oh, like I haven't actually been like fully breathing. Like you just feel like there's so much more space to take in air, and like the nasal drip that happens after can be a little gross, but you're like, wow, that was like just stagnant gunk in my like nose area that needed to leave.
Yeah, and a lot of people, their immediate reaction, kind of like yours, was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can breathe so clearly. And a lot of people didn't even realize that you could be breathing better because you just get so used to what your nose feels like. I'd say like a lot of my patients too, like they come in and they are just so congested that any amount of clearance or blowing out that stagnant congestion, because there's a lot of space in our nose and our face for mucus. And I know it's hard to believe because looking at our face, we don't really see it. But in there, stuff can get really stagnant, and the stagnancy can kind of like perpetuate the same cycle of this like produce more mucus, try and get it out, can't get it out, whatever. So even sometimes just blowing it out a few times, people start to get a lot of more drainage and more relief that way. And it can help with snoring and headaches and ringing ears and sleep. Obviously, we want people breathing through their noses. Like this is all the rage right now, is proper nasal breathing and not mouth breathing anymore. And we have people who are doing sleep apnea, and then the snoring, and there's wives sending in their husbands to try and get them to stop snoring. And it's just like, it's really cool. I mean, they're using it with so much stuff now. I obviously like mostly see chronic congestion type stuff, but I know people who are studying it in kids with ADHD, glaucoma, post-concussion syndrome, like lots of like fighters and wrestlers and jiu-jitsu athletes and that kind of stuff are doing it from all their like hits to the face. And I have a hockey player right now who's doing it because he saw an NHL player who was posting about it, and he was like, this makes me perform better. Or like, I have a triathlete or a marathon runner who PR'd his marathon time because he was nasal breathing better while he ran. So it's just like so cool. It can work for so many different things.
I really want my friend from Dallas to come in and see you, because she has like, my God, the worst migraines I've ever freaking heard of. Like almost like every single day. And I just wonder what that could do for her.
Yeah, I honestly haven't seen too many migraine cases, but I would love to see if that worked for somebody, because we've even tried it with like people with daily persistent headaches, and I've tried it with some people with vertigo. Actually, I've had vertigo recently, and I didn't even think to try it. But if it were to come back, I would definitely try it again, just because it can be very closely associated with the ear. The ear and the nose are very closely associated.
Yeah, things I don't know about. Erin taught me all about the little crystals of your ear. I was like, cool, I have those too. Good to know.
You do, and let's hope they stay where they're supposed to be.
Oh my God, I know, right? Yeah, I definitely always learn so much about the body, and next time I come in, we need to film it, because I just laugh. Like something about, I get scared and I just laugh the whole time. And I feel like that could be good content for you.
It really would be. Even when you get adjusted, it's like the most hilarious reaction. So good.
I'm a nervous Nelly, Erin. Underneath it all. Okay, I'm going to flip it over to you. Erin has a couple questions she's going to ask me, and we're going to see what they are, and I'm going to answer honestly, no passing.
Okay. So, full transparency, obviously, myself and you have done drugs in a more recreational setting. For you, how do you decide like who and what drug you are going to do recreationally? Like, what is your criteria for choosing to do them, if you even choose to do them, outside of like the therapeutic realm?
Yeah. Okay, that's a really good question. So like for what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, the reason I feel so comfortable with you is because I know that like this is like my criteria, right? Like I would never do someone's first time unless they were coming to a retreat and like I was facilitating and I was totally clear, because you don't know what you're getting into until you've done it before. And I need someone who understands, like, I don't want to call it proper, like, recreational experience procedure, but kind of that, like, I can trust that. Well, first of all, I actually think we're both totally well regulated, that unless like something were really like triggering to happen, or we got like a weird messed up the dose, or if anything, happened, like we would be able to hold ourselves through any uncomfortable experience. And this is my own shit, but I don't want to feel like I have to like facilitate for someone when I'm trying to have my own experience. And of course, like if something happened and we were together, I would 100% be there for you and like show up in that capacity for you. But I just feel like in general, there's a higher probability that like you won't need that, and therefore I can actually enjoy myself and like have a good time. Because I mean, honestly, if I'm having a recreational experience myself, it's because I don't want to be like caretaking anyone else. And, you know, like Erin said, she takes care of a lot of patients and shows up for a lot of people. And like the work that I do is really emotional. And I also feel like I take care of a lot of people. And like sometimes I just don't want to have to do that. And then in terms of substances themselves, I mean, I think one thing people don't always realize if they're not in this world, like I really do feel like every single thing has a different, almost like personality. Like mushies are very different than acids, very different than MDMA is very different than, uh, my favorite thing is actually 2CB, which I haven't been able to find in a long time. But so doing some things like in public, I never want to be like fully on mushrooms in public, if I'm being completely honest. Like to me, a mushy is a more inward mushy experience. Like I want to lay down in one of my blankies. I'm probably gonna cry in my eye mask and like pet my cat. You know, I don't want to be at the park frolicking. But acid, like it's way more energizing. So then yeah, I do want to go like I'm going to go have an experience when I see Rufus, right? Like I'm going to do all these things, or a nice Molly, like a baby roll at a concert can be really like beautiful as well. But dosing matters, like safety and sourcing matters. And then in terms of like who I want to do these experiences with, like I do sometimes do, there've been a handful of people where I've done like more private experiences where we're both having like a quote unquote recreational experience. And I would totally do that with you, Erin. But the thing that like goes through my mind is like, am I willing to like hold their shit, right? So I've done it like with exes where I kind of already knew, well, actually just one ex, where I knew like what he like was bringing to the table that like could come up for him on the journey, right? And I knew I could hold it and I was willing to hold it. Or I've done it with like an old friend, like we've done it together and, you know, just been the experience together. And I knew like I was willing to hold what she brought to the table. But it's something to think about if you're entering a recreational experience with someone, like what are they bringing to the table that could come out in a journey? Because like I'm frankly not down for everyone's while I'm trying to have my own experience.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I'm pretty picky too about who I'm doing them around. I kind of have like my crew that I would do it with at a concert, and we don't really waver from that too much. Really.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just like going to have a
That's a big too. I didn't even like think about it like holding someone's shit, you know, like what could come up in that experience. I can only think of one time when that happened, and there was like a big enough group of us that, and it was my birthday, so I was not on the hook for like helping this person out. But luckily there was enough of us who were like, we got him, it's all good, like whatever. But I also am like the friend that all my friends trust in terms of like what we're taking and who's bringing it. So I feel like I do hold a little bit of responsibility there. But other than that, everyone's pretty good. Okay, my other question for you has to do around like dating and new people. And like, I know that like myself personally, I've kind of tried to drink less alcohol with dating. But what, like, how do you think that like psychedelics or microdosing comes into like your dating life? And how was your date the other day?
Oh my God. It's funny that you said all of that because actually, so Erin doesn't know, she knows I went on a date and like I've kind of had a dating hiatus. But the guy, Erin, drank, it was on a Monday, as we record this, it's a Tuesday. He drank 5 or 6 tequila sodas, like on the date. I was like, this is a no for me, dog. And then he like kind of nagged me when I ordered a club soda. And I was like, you're not going to like try to shame me for not having an alcoholic beverage on a Monday. But yeah, when it comes to microdosing, I actually really like to microdose before a date because I can set the intention that like I'm just going in there to be open and to have fun and to connect and like see what happens. But I will say, like, my job has made dating a lot harder because some people are like, oh my God, you're a drug dealer. Not realizing like the deeper stuff that goes into the work that I do. And a lot of people still have a lot of preconceived notions around it. Some people I meet and they're like, that's so cool. You know, I had an experience with mushrooms that helped me stop smoking, or you know, psychedelics like save my life or save someone else's life, or I think it's so cool what psychedelics are doing for veterans. And like some people have, you know, a positive take on it, but I think there's just a lot of like not fully understanding the work that I do, and that can be hard to explain to someone on a date. and some preconceived judgment. I think that I like come back to this all the time. Like, well, I used to be an attorney, not because I feel like I think it makes me like better, but I think for people who are having a really hard time, like having that grounding force of, okay, she's not just like some kid from the commune like handing out mushrooms. Like she has a background rooted in literal the law. And I think it just adds a little bit like of gravitas when sometimes people are dismissing me. So I think sometimes I do wield that as a weapon, but it's hard, you know, like I face a lot of preconceived judgments and all sorts of things. So I'm sure that doesn't make my dating life any easier.
No, I'm sure it's not. I also like to tell guys like early on in dating of some of my experiences because I do like to see how they react. I think it shows like kind of how open-minded they can be, or if they're kind of like, oh, I've never done that, I'd never try that. Like what the heck is that? I'm like, I feel like it's a good filter sometimes for telling people those types of things.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. It's definitely a filter. And at the end of the day, like I know my person isn't going to be someone who orders 5 tequila sodas on a Monday and like doesn't understand the concept of microdosing or isn't like willing to try to understand it, even if they don't originally.
Yeah, totally. What was like the driving force behind adding in the LSD component to your international retreats?
Okay, well, for one, I'll just be so for real, it's my favorite. And I'm like, why are we doing this? And the only reason I like didn't start doing it earlier in my business is because I didn't have a source. And it's like I'm very selective about my own sourcing. You know, it's like a big reason why we don't do other things too. Like if I could find it somewhere and trust that it was like exactly what they said it was, believe me, we would be doing a whole shebang of other substances. But also okay, well, when someone travels internationally, I'm also like, okay, you're here for a longer time. Like, I want you to feel like you really like squeeze the juice out of this like international experience. And also, I think it's kind of fun in the contrast of like mushies are mushy and you're like we're tired and you're laying down and you're like it's really emotive and you're crying and then LSD is like, let's put on a face mask and float in the
Mm. Yeah, they are two very different experiences, that's for sure.
I just love LSD. Write it on my forehead. Maybe
Same
I should
girl.
get t-shirts made that say I heart LSD.
What's also funny, I was talking about this with some friends too, is that we were talking about how different it sounds to be like, yeah, when I was on LSD, or like, yeah, when I was on acid. Like, even though they are the same thing, they just sound so different when you use a different name for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how like Canada is when you're growing up, but like the propaganda around like acid and like acid will I just remember hearing acid's gonna scramble your brain and like sitting where I am now with like the knowledge that I have, I'm like, what does that mean? Like you can't scramble your brain.
Yeah, totally. I don't know if I ever remember hearing about acid. I feel like acid for me was always like the hippy dippies at some like festival or whatever, like dropping acid. And so I didn't really even know much about it, truthfully, before doing it.
I love it. I mean, the journey's a little long. That's the only downside. But other than that,
That journey was long. Wow. Amazing.
mhm.
But long.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like you have the best time of anyone.
Oh, for sure. I had a really good time on acid. But it was long, like going on hour. I probably shouldn't even say this because I don't want people to think that they're all like that. But I mean, at hour 12, I was like, hey, ready to go to bed.
I also think it's just different. Like, it's like mine don't feel as long anymore. And I think sort of like your body just kind of like, oh, we're going to metabolize this thing again. Like, woohoo. But the first time, especially for someone who doesn't like take anything, like you're not on anything. Like, so it's just your body's 100% like open to whatever, like you're absorbing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's so true.
Well, thank you for coming and chatting with me, Erin. Oh, what?
Oh, sorry. I was just saying that's so true because I was thinking about because I do MDMA more often than anything that I feel like I metabolize that so much quicker now.
Oh, that's good to know. Because that was just a theory that I was putting out there. I didn't know if that was scientifically backed or not.
Oh, really? No, I feel like I like intentionally take like really long breaks from it so that the next journey is good.
Oh, well, yeah, that's definitely a thing that like I know is there in science, but I just mean actually that's also true. Like if you were to do acid more quickly after the last acid, your acid would not be as potent even if it was the same dose and it wouldn't last as long. But I even just mean me, like I don't do it all the time, but I do feel like my body is just more like, okay, we already know what we're like. It already has the directions. Like the first time you do anything, it's like, how the hell am I doing this? And then your body gets the template and it's like, all right, let's move it through.
Ah, yes. I feel that for sure.
Well, I just can't wait to see you in August. We're going to have a real little ball.
I know it's going to be so fun. I can't wait.
Erin, if you were going to sit down and tell someone, like, you know, if you do this, it will continue to make your journey better or help your microdosing last longer or make your like larger journey better. What is something that you would tell someone to, it could be a question they should ask themselves. Like, how would you tell someone to like fully integrate or make the most out of integration?
I think like if you're going to spend the time and money to go on a retreat, like I would say like buy into the process completely, even if it feels kind of like, I don't know, you know, sometimes like you're like in school and you're like, oh, this assignment is stupid. Like I'm too cool for this or whatever. I feel like it can be the same thing with that. Like sometimes you ask, you know, us to do something and I'm like, oh. And then when you do it, you're like, wow, that was actually the most like transformative thing that I did. I think, yeah, like these, you're seeking them out for a reason. And if you're not going to like go all in, then why do it? So I think for me, and I've been on both sides of that, you know, where I've like really bought in and then I haven't. And so I think like, if you're going to do it, like go hard, do it all.
Go hard in the paint, right?
Yeah. Go hard in the paint, go big or go home.
Woo! I used to sports reference. Look at me. Well, thank you so much for being here, Erin. I just love Erin. I just love you so much. And I'm so excited to go to Egypt with you and see you in August and for you to go to the cottage in just a couple weeks and spend time with little old Maeve and all your Canadian cuties and see the Carbon Co. hit 100K months.
Yeah, that would be a dream. Thank you. I'm excited for all those things too. Thanks for having me. This was so fun.
I love it, you guys. And oh, okay, wait. Okay, so we got to follow Erin at Dr. Period Erin Hallahan.
Yeah. But it shouldn't matter. You should be able to just
and we'll put all this in the show notes. Dr. Erin Hallahan and the Carbon Co. We'll put it all in the show notes. And if you're in San Diego, you're going to want to go to the Carbon Co. and get nasal release from Erin, adjuster from Erin or John, PT from Sarah, a massage from Itzel, and talk to Courtney and Andre at the front desk.
Oh my God, that was impressive. She knows it inside out. Yes, nailed it.
Did I name everyone?
Yeah.
That's crazy because names are so freaking hard for me.
Yeah, you nailed it. We do have one other massage therapist. We have another massage therapist, but she's been on sabbatical for a couple months, so we probably haven't really talked about her all that much, but she's back. Her name's Celeste. Also a great massage therapist.
I'm so proud of myself. Okay, you guys, let's leave on a high note before I say something else and ruin this beautiful moment I'm having. Erin, thank you so much for being here. Love you so much. And guys, seriously, go check her out. If you're in San Diego, you're going to love it. Mwah! That's the end of today's trip. But remember, the real magic has always been inside of you. If this episode landed, send it to a friend who's ready to step into their next level. And make sure you're following the show so you never miss a dose. I'll be back again soon with another day on the path to your most limitless life. And until then, trust yourself, follow your intuition, and keep asking, how good can it get?